Do you think it would be a good idea to have the winners of the AFC Asian Cup and AFCON face off for a trophy similar to the Finalissima?
I mean, sure, yeah, that would be easy enough to make in the FM editor, but I think we can do better than that. So I've made the Afro-Asian Combined Cup of Nations, featuring all 24 teams that qualified for AFCON and all 24 teams that qualified for the Asian Cup. That's 48 nations, so I've put them into 8 groups of 6, with the top 2 qualifying for the round of 16. And Group A shows us this is going to be a crazy tournament. Massive shocks here as Egypt and Saudi Arabia are both knocked out. Qatar and DR Congo going through by virtue of being the only teams able to win more than a single game. Group B perhaps goes more to form. Ivory Coast top ahead of UAE, although going by real life results perhaps not going to form for Ivory Coast. Group C dominated by the African teams, but what about Australia finishing 5th in the group and flying home early? Group D was a tough one, 2 of the biggest nations in there, and those are the 2 that go through, Morocco and Japan. And apart perhaps from the order of the top 2, no big surprises in Group E either as Cameroon and Iran progress. Group F dominated by South Korea and Tunisia actually managing to show up for this tournament. Group G a poor showing for the Asian teams as Nigeria and Guinea go through. And Group H a disaster for the Asian teams as they occupy the bottom 3 spots, Uzbekistan completely flopping. So this is our round of 16, some tasty ties here. An all-Asian clash with South Korea against Iran, 2 of the African favourites going head-to-head, Morocco v Senegal, and 2 of the biggest names from either continent facing off as Ghana take on Japan. And in the first of those big clashes, it's Japan with the comeback win, knocking out Ghana and going through to the quarterfinals. Senegal also with an extra time win and an absolutely crazy goal fest against Morocco. South Korea also needed extra time to knock out Asian rivals Iran, and they're joined in the last 8 by Qatar, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Nigeria and Algeria. By the way, if you want to do your own playthrough of this tournament, you can download it now if you're a supporter on my Patreon, or you can wait a week to get it from Steam Workshop. First quarterfinal, all-Asian clash, Japan going through on a penalty shootout victory over Qatar. A huge West African clash next as Nigeria beat Cameroon, and another one as Senegal implode and get knocked out by Ivory Coast. And South Korea making sure it'll be 2 Asian teams in the last 4 with a last gasp win over Algeria. So here's our semi-final lineup: Japan, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, South Korea. And it was Celtic favourite Kyogo Furuhashi who made sure Japan advanced at the expense of Nigeria, while it took another penalty shootout to settle the second semi-final, Ivory Coast advancing South Korea into the 3rd place playoff, which they would lose. Ivory Coast, Japan then in the final, and it was Kubo who would open the scoring for the Asian side, and Kyogo Furuhashi extending their lead moments later. In the second half though, Ivory Coast would mount a comeback, but it would be short-lived as Maeda put the game beyond doubt on 89 minutes. Sebastian Haller would grab his second of the game right on 90 minutes, but it wasn't enough to stop Japan becoming our first Afro-Asian Challenge Cup winners. Gouiri of Algeria was a fitting top goal scorer. Yeah, fitting because Japan were champions and this guy's called Aminé. En Nasri of Morocco was named best player, Barsham of Qatar best keeper, and here's our Dream 11. Now how well do you think they would do in the Premier League?